A lot of people think they need to be flexible to begin a yoga practice, but this isn't true. Flexibility is one of the many benefits or outcomes of a yoga practice. In today's video, we're looking at part 1 of our yoga for flexibility. So grab your mat and let's get started. Hi, my name is Arundhati and welcome back to the Aham Yoga channel. For today's practice, you would need a yoga strap, a couple of yoga blocks, of course your yoga mat, and a blanket if you have that. Now, if you don't have any of these yoga props, it's completely okay. You can still practice. I would get you to grab a towel or something that resembles a yoga strap to begin. Okay, so for our first pose, we're going to start lying down. Okay, now when you're starting to train your flexibility, whether you're new or even a little experienced in yoga practice, it's really good to start lying back. Okay, so bend your knees, take your strap or your towel, whatever you're using, draw the right knee into your chest. Now place the straps on the ball mounds of the foot. Now, just if you've never done this pose, quickly look at the screen for a moment. A lot of people will place the strap on the arch of the foot, okay, and then we just straighten the leg up. Essentially, that's not going to help much. You want the strap on the ball mounds of the foot, so over the big and little toe mound, and then you start to straighten your leg. Now reach your right arm high up towards the towards the foot. Push the right thigh away from you. Now your other leg could be bent like this, or you could straighten your left leg on your mat. Now in this pose, if your neck starts to strain, that's why we have the blanket. Just slide it under your head and neck. Now inhale, press your right foot up towards the ceiling. Okay, you want to push the thigh away from you and press your right foot up towards the ceiling. And now as you exhale, open the right leg out to the right side. Okay, so you're doing two things here. You're going out to the side and you're drawing the leg higher up towards that right shoulder. Throughout, you're keeping your left hip down and not letting the left hip lift up. Takes a little getting used to if you haven't done this pose before. And now bring the leg back up. And we move into Happy Baby Ananda Balasana on your right leg. So just bend your right knee. Some of you will be able to catch your foot or stay on the strap. And now if you've not done Happy Baby before, please watch the screen for a moment. You want your ankle to be above your knee, creating a really nice right angle with that leg. You don't want to close out that angle because honestly, we're not doing much here. You want to keep that right ankle going, right ankle over your knee, and you'll feel this in your glute and hamstring. So bend your right elbow and take a full breath here. And switch. Okay, straighten out the right leg, bend the left knee, lift your head up, place the strap over the ball mounds of your foot. It's well worth your time and effort to get that right. And then straighten the leg. And if you've never done this pose, and even if you have, you'll notice right away that a lot of us have this really tight hamstring. Okay, one is tighter than the other. It's completely natural. It's a big muscle group, so it'll also give you sensation of it being tight. Okay, so now inhale, press up. Doing this pose repeatedly will help. Make sure the other leg, the leg on your mat, hasn't gone to sleep. You still flex it and scrape that leg forward. And open up. Now left leg out to the left side. Press into your strap like you're trying to get your leg to move away from your hip. Keep the right hip pinned down. Use your right hand to help if needed. And again, on this side of the video, you can actually see it. You don't want the leg just going to the side. You want the leg to pull up as well. So you're getting deep into your inner thigh and you're building a lot of stability around your hips as well. And then bring the leg back up and Ananda Balasana, Happy Baby on this side. So just go straight with that bent elbow. Go straight into that bent elbow and take your left hand, maybe grab your foot or stay on the strap. Again, find your right angle. You want the ankle over your knee, and yes, your arm does work a little hard to keep that right angle going. Both hips are even, and then you let this go. Put the strap aside. Essentially, you don't need the strap for the rest of your practice. Now, bend your knees, set up for what we call figure 4. Take your right ankle over your left thigh. Draw both legs towards the body. Now, I'm not using my arms in this video today. I'm just going to leave my arms comfortably at the sides. Flex your right ankle, which means draw the right toes towards the shin. Move your right knee away from you, away from the hip joint. Now, as you inhale, stay here, flexing your ankles. Now, as you exhale, switch. Take your left ankle over your right thigh. And again, there are two things that are happening here. Your right leg is pressing in and your left leg is pressing forward and out, if that makes sense. Okay, so flex your ankle and then keep that action going. So you fire up the outer glute and hip. If you sit all day, these poses will be really good for your hips. And release both feet back down on your mat. Now, you're welcome to do this pose again, especially if you're new to yoga practice. Please do figure 4 again. Now, for those of you who've done this before, come back to figure 4. Lift your head, neck and shoulders up. Slide, this is optional, slide your arms under your calf or your shin. Now, flex your ankle, move your right hip towards the front of the mat. Now, watch my left leg. I could leave it here, I could take it a little higher, or it would come closer or on the mat. Your head might reach down. Now, that's your choice. You can either leave the head down or keep it up. And then let everything go. Take a breath. Second side. Okay, now your left ankle is over your right thigh. Lift up. I always like to tuck the chin before lifting up, so it's less work for the neck, and slide your arms. Now you can see it on this side in the video. Move your left hip to the front of your mat, so you really fire up figure 4 a little more. And then straighten that leg or keep it bent. And either lie back, hugging that leg in towards the body, and release. Okay, now draw both knees to your chest and roll over to your right side and come to sit up. Now we're moving into a set of poses that will work the hips a little more. So find the top of your mat. Pigeon pose. If you know pigeon, go straight into it on your right leg. Take your right foot close to your left hand. Now move the right knee beyond your hip. Walk your hands in. If you notice that your hands don't touch your mat, then grab your blocks or whatever you're using as blocks today and lift up. Essentially, you want an open chest in pigeon pose and you want to fire up the glute and hips a little bit. So, inhale, flex the foot slightly, and as you exhale, lower down on your forearms. You can even walk your arms all the way in front, keeping your hips even. Okay, now I'm going to stay up here for this video. It's easier for the mic to record this. If you've never done pigeon or you're not sure if you're doing pigeon properly, we do have a how to do pigeon pose correctly tutorial on the channel. I will link that in the description below. It teaches you how to position your leg and how to get the hips even. Okay, so that would be a good one to check out right after this one. And then slowly come back up. If you know downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana head there. If not, for now, just go to your second side and switch. Left ankle to your right hand. Again, find your tall pigeon first. Roll open your shoulders. This should never be felt in your lower back. Okay. tuck your tail, lift your chest up, flex your left foot, and again come back to either your forearms or all the way down to your forehead and arms. Flex your left ankle and relax the head and neck. Pigeon pose is a beginner friendly hip opening pose. There are many components to hip opening, but it's extremely beginner friendly. And then slowly come back up. Now we'll all meet in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Again, there is, if you are unsure of down dog, there is a mini tutorial on our channel that teaches you how to get the distance between your hands and your feet correct for your height. Okay, again, I will make sure to link that in the description box below, so you know how to fix your down dog every time you do it. Now, in down dog, use your arms to give you support. Push away from your mat. Let your heels drop. Okay, they don't need to touch, but let them feel heavy and a sensation like they're pulling down towards your mat. Drop your head. Now, bend your right knee. Toes are still on your mat. You pedal your legs out. Press your left heel down and switch. So this is a good way of opening the back of your legs up. Move at a pace that's comfortable for you. Keep your arms nice and strong. We're going to do a few more repetitions here. You may feel some sensation in your calves, hamstrings, and a little fatigue in your arms if you're not used to holding down dog often. Last set here. And drop your knees down. Okay, we're going to lift one leg up in downward facing dog. I like to call it down dog with a twist. If you've never done down dog, if you've never done this pose before, watch it before you go up. Okay, so you find your downward facing dog. You raise your right leg on the inhale. Now you bend your top knee and you take that foot behind your left hip or glute. You lift your inner right knee up. You use your arms, push away from your mat. The rest of your body stays in Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Lift and stack your hips here if you can. And release. If you're new to the practice, completely acceptable to drop your knees down and give yourself a moment of rest. Second side, take your left leg up. Bend the top knee, point the foot slightly and lift the inner knee and thigh up. Work on trying to stack your hips. Keep your shoulders even if you can. One more breath and slowly lower that leg down. Now we're going to go for 2 rounds. You can stay in it for as long as you want or come out a little sooner. So this would be our second round. When you're ready, inhale, raise your right leg up. Stack your hips, right hip over the left. Lift your right knee up. Take that foot behind you. Stay even in your shoulders. Let the head drop. As you watch your left leg, try to press that left foot down and the heel lowers down, doesn't need to touch. And untwist. Last one here, inhale, sweep your left leg up and over. Open that knee up. Inhale here. Again, pay attention to that right foot and lower down. Now drop your knees. Step your right foot forward. If you are new to yoga, using blocks might be a good idea at this point. Okay. Now drop your back knee. If your knee is sensitive, just use a blanket under that knee. Okay, now inhale, lift up. Keep your right ankle under your right knee. Either stop here or slowly take your arms up. Inhale, lift up. lower your hips. So you really get into this hip flexor and quad on the other side. And as you exhale, step your blocks out. Adho Mukha Svanasana one more time. Step your right leg back, take a breath. And switch. Left leg in front. Again, your choice. Blocks, hands on your mat, or inhale, sweep the arms up. But watch this if you don't know this pose properly. You want to lower your hips. Okay, the whole idea is to move your hips to the front of your mat so you get that hip flexor and quad work going. Inhale here, and as you exhale, come back into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Now raise your right leg up. Inhale here, and step your right foot outside your right hand. Okay, lower your back knee right away, and then adjust the right foot till you have your knee over your ankle. Now I'm actually going to turn around so you can see this better, but I highly recommend you grab your blocks if you have them for this part of the practice. Okay, so right foot outside your right hand. Now if you haven't done lizard pose before, that's what we call this, look at my knee for a moment. You don't want your knee to roll in. At the same time, you don't want your leg to fall out. What you want to do is turn your toes out slightly and make sure your knee and your ankle go, knee and your toes are going in the same direction. So yes, this is externally rotating on the right leg, but you'll feel the stretch sensation on your left hip flexor and quad. And now lower down in your hips, but stay upright in your spine. Okay, one more breath here in lizard pose. And now move your blocks out and find down dog. In this angle, I'm going to skip down dog, but feel free to take down dog. Raise your left leg and step your left foot outside your left hand. Okay, lower your back knee. A lot of times people get stuck here. Okay, just in that case, use your arm to help. Walk the leg out. The range in your hips gets better with practice. Okay, consistent practice. So turn your left toes and knees out in the same direction. Stack. A quick look at the screen here again. You don't want to be here, because this is a lot of load on your knee. Say you do it 10,000 times, it can be a lot of load on your knees. So again, lower your hips, chest is upright, shoulders are relaxed. You want that weight to fall into your hips to help that hip flexor. Lizard pose. And now slowly come back out. We're going to do this again. Inhale, find your way to downward facing dog. Okay. Now you can and raise your right leg and step out again. So lizard pose all over again. Now in this version, we're adding on. We're adding a little twist for the quadricep. If this is too much, you've never done lizard pose before, then please stay here. Don't go into the next part yet. Maybe in future, yes. Okay. Now when you're ready, right hand on your right hip, turn and look back. Bend your back knee, grab your foot. It may be challenging to find the foot initially, but it does get better with a little more practice. Now slowly lower down on your left forearm and start to, with your arm, bend your elbow and pull your left foot to your left glute. Immediately you'll feel your quadricep, the top of your thigh, really almost scream back at you. That's a good thing here. Keep drawing that foot close to the buttock. Take a breath. Even though you just want to come out of the pose, one more breath again. And release. Both hands on your mat. Lift yourself up and switch. Take it to down dog and transition. Step your left foot outside your left hand. Turn the knees and toes out in the same direction. Bend your back knee. Turn, catch that foot. Okay, you can always throw a strap over your foot as well. Lower down on your right forearm. Now that's optional. You don't need to lower down, and yes, blocks are welcome under your forearm as well. Now take a breath and press your right heel to your right glute. Draw the hips down. Keep the length in your spine. Try not to round your back. One more breath. Press that heel in. And release that leg. Okay, make your way up onto your hands and we'll meet in downward facing dog again. A lot of down dogs are good because it does a lot of different things, but it does stretch the back of your legs really efficiently. Now look to the front of your mat. Okay. Step or hop all the way forward and then now slowly roll up one vertebra at a time and come all the way to stand. Now turn towards the long end of your mat, stay at the center of your mat and step or hop your feet apart. Now feet run parallel to the outer edges of your mat, reach your arms wide. Now stack your feet below your wrists. Inhale, reach your arms apart and triangle pose on your right side. Turn your right toes out, left toes in slightly. Press down into your mat with both feet. And now reach your right arm towards the wall in front of you. Keep lengthening and either place your hand on your shin, on a block, especially if you're new, on a block or by the side of your leg. Now stack your shoulders here. Open your chest. As you inhale, press down into your feet. As you exhale, straighten your legs even more. Turn in your chest a little bit. Right shoulder blade forward. Left shoulder blade draws back. Arms reach wide, creating space between your wrists. And as you inhale, slight bend in your knee. Reach through your left fingers, come up to stand. Take a breath here. And other side, turn your left toes out, right toes in. Then square your hips to the long end of your mat. Root your right heel. Reach through your left fingers. Again, trying to touch the opposite wall. Legs remain straight. And you stack your shoulders again. Okay. Now inhale, press down into your feet. Straighten your legs. That's the most challenging part in Trikonasana if you've never done it before. Just getting that hamstring to work with you. Straighten that leg. Reach your spine to the back wall. Now left shoulder blade draws forward. Right shoulder pulls back and your chest is fully open. Look down if your neck tends to trouble you here. As you inhale, press both feet. Soft bend in your knee, come out of your pose, reach your fingers out and step or hop both legs in. Now turn to the front of your mat. Okay, if you have blocks, I highly recommend you use them in this next pose called Parshvottanasana. Okay, as you inhale, reach your both arms up, step your left leg back. Okay, and now reach forward and fold down. Pull your hands back, stack your hands under your shoulders, and the tighter you feel in your hamstring, the higher you want to be on your blocks. Okay. Now, the first thing, if you've never done this pose, and honestly, even if you have, just look at the screen for a moment. The back foot plays a really important role in squaring your hips. So, press down at the back foot, make sure the toes are at an angle and turn your outer hip and thigh forward. Okay, so I'm going to say that all over again. Press the back foot, root down into your mat and rotate that outer hip and thigh forward to the front of your mat. At the same time, press the front foot, draw the right hip back. So you're creating an evenness in your hips. You can see the opposite hip on the second side. Now inhale, stay light on your hands, straighten your legs by pressing down into your mat. Either stop here, especially if your back troubles you, stop here. We do have a yoga for lower back sequence on the channel that I'll link below as well. As you exhale, widen your hands and fold in. Let the head drop, let the torso drop towards that straight front leg. One more breath here. Feel into that hamstring. It's okay to really be confronted with that tight hamstring. And then slowly come up. Now switch through down dog. Okay. Place both hands down. Bend the front knee. Sweep that leg back. Take a breath here. Switch. Left foot forward. And then just stand upright. Okay. Now, again, if you're new to this pose, it's a good time to watch the opposite hip in the video. Now, root through your right heel, roll that right outer hip and thigh forward. Inhale, press your feet down, reach your arms overhead, and then exhale, fold. A lot of times people don't get the distance right between the hands and the feet. We do have a video on down dog that I referenced earlier, which talks about how to get your distance right. I would watch that if you don't know the distance of your hands and your feet yet. Okay. Now inhale, press the back foot, roll the right outer hip and thigh forward. Now watch my left hip. As you roll that right hip and thigh forward, you get the opportunity to press the foot down and draw the left hip back. This will keep your hips even and it lets you lengthen your spine forward. You can stop here, especially if your back troubles you. This is a good pause. And if your back doesn't trouble you, start to widen your hands, fold. Belly to thigh, chest to knee or leg, forehead to your shin. Eventually, this doesn't happen on the first time when you try the pose. Slowly. Relax your arms, relax your head. One more breath here, straight legs. And then slowly come up. And now move your blocks out to the sides. And let's head back to downward facing dog. Now drop your knees in down dog. Okay. And step your right foot forward again. Do you need to lower? Now grab your blocks. You'll need it for this pose. Now as you inhale, lunge in your hips, open your chest. Okay. And as you exhale, it's a half a forward split prep. So pull back in your hips, flex your right foot, press the heel down and draw your hips further back. You could always go higher on your blocks. Now inhale, lift your chest and then lunge forward. Exhale, draw back. Keep going. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hips pull back and flex that foot. Again, inhale, lift, open the chest. Exhale, draw the hips back. It's like you're trying to sit on that back heel. If bringing your chest forward is challenging, you're welcome to stay up. Inhale, move forward. And exhale, draw back. Now switch. Step your right foot back, left foot forward. Take that extra second to stack your knee over your ankle. Now inhale, lunge deep. Exhale, draw the hips back. Again, stay either up in your spine or you lower down a little more. Again, inhale, move forward. Exhale, pull back. We've got a few more rounds. Inhale, move forward. Exhale, draw back. 30 minutes is good enough to start working on your flexibility. Inhale, move forward. Exhale, draw back. One last one on your left side. Inhale, lift the chest, lunge in your hips, it's good to do these, especially if you sit on furniture all day, and then slowly draw back. Now, step your leg back, and if that really felt good, feel free to just hit pause and do that all over again. Okay, repetition is key when we're trying to work flexibility. Now, if you have a blanket, please sit on a folded blanket. You're welcome to sit on your blocks as well. Okay, we're doing a couple of seated yoga poses here. Bend your knees, bring the soles of your feet to touch. This pose is called bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Baddha Konasana. Now, as you press your feet, let your knees fall out to the side. Okay, if what this is doing is it's externally rotating our hips, it's helping us stretch our inner thighs out. When we try to do flexibility in yoga, a lot of it has to do with hips and lower body initially. Okay, now we're going to fold forward here. Okay, couple of things to know. If your knees are much higher than your hips, there are two things you could do to speed up your process in this pose. First thing would be to sit on more height. So if your knees are much higher, grab a block, grab a second blanket or a higher cushion and sit on it. That's part one. Okay, part two of that would be take your hands behind you so you don't drop in your lower back and you get to use your arms as almost like kickstands to sit up a little more. And as you do that, press your feet. Open your knees wide. Okay. From there, bring your arms on your inner thighs. Now just watch the screen for a moment. A lot of people place their elbows close to the hips. Okay. What happens here is as you fold forward, you tend to get tense in our shoulders. So to avoid that, just keep your arms wide and relaxed. Press down slightly on your inner thighs and then lean forward, let the head drop, relax the face. Take a breath or two here. If you're not used to this range of movement, of work, it can be a little shocking at first, okay? But it's really good. Working your hips keeps your lower back really safe, okay? So it's necessary to do in our asana practice. And then slowly press yourself up. Hold on to your outer knees or thighs. Help your legs come back in. Now, take your right leg to the right side. And if you feel a little stiff when you sit on the floor, because we don't squat often, feel free to do one leg at a time, okay? Just divide your time between each side. Or split both legs open. Now, you don't have to try and push your hips forward and try to get the biggest split here. Just a comfortable seat, okay? It's called Upavishta Konasana, seated angle pose. Same thing, if you drop in your lower back, please sit on a little more height and use your hands behind you. What's happening is we are positioning the pelvis to be held in a certain upright position so the spine can stay erect. It feels better overall, okay? Now, flex your feet. So just watch my feet for a moment if it's unfamiliar. Flex the feet, draw the toes towards the shin. It's like your legs are trying to get even longer as they reach out to the sides, okay? Inner thighs roll back. Now, if your back can stay up, put your hands in front of you, okay? Now, walk forward. You're walking from the hip here. We're not rounding with the upper back. Do your best to keep your chest lifted. Walk as far forward as you can. And like pigeon pose, you can stay on your forearms if you get there, or all the way down. Now, know that this is not going to happen instantly, okay? We can be pretty locked up in our inner thighs and hips. So build a pose like this really patiently. I think now would be the perfect time while you breathe into this pose to tell you that if you enjoy content like this, and you want to do deeper classes like this, part 1, part 2, part 3, then you should absolutely subscribe to our channel, give us a comment, like, and let us know what are the topics you'd like to see deeper classes on. Okay, and one more breath, again flexing your feet, don't let that go. And slowly walk your way up and slide your hands under your thighs, lean back, bring your feet closer together and bring your knees in. Here we've got, you might be feeling a little sensation in your inner thighs, that should go away pretty quickly. We've got one more pose, it's a supine twist. We'll release the spine and head into Shavasana. I highly recommend that you practice part 1 a few times before part 2 of our yoga for flexibility comes out next week. Okay, and with time and your consistent effort, you should absolutely be finding yourself getting more open, a little more flexibility building in your body very safely. Now to twist, straighten your left leg, bend your right knee to your chest, take your left arm across the body and just a quick supine twist here. The other arm just reaches out to the side. Always good to twist at the end of your practice as well, just to let everything unwind. And then bring it center and take this twist to your other side. So bend your left knee and reach your left arm out to the side and a quick twist. Straighten your right leg and then come out of your pose. Now for Shavasana today, bring the feet together, the soles of your feet together, and let your knees fall out to the sides. Draw the feet close to you. We just did this pose a while back, but the Konasana, bound angle pose. Now if your knees are higher up in a pose like this, please do grab your blocks and slide them under your thighs like this. Okay, under your outer knees to be precise. So essentially what happens is it feels supported, at the same time you're still working your range of motion in your hips. Arms by your side. It's going to be just a minute long Shavasana, but I highly recommend those of you who have, say, a little extra time in your practice today, maybe another minute or two, to stay longer. Let your eyes come closed. Relax the forehead. Relax your eyes. Part your lips and your teeth. And completely rest and release into this pose. And very slowly, those of you who are at time, draw the legs back together. Roll over to your right side and gradually press yourself up into a seat. Palms meet at your heart center. Take a comfortable breath in. And as you exhale, let the head drop to the heart. Slowly blink open your eyes. Release your palms on your thighs and raise your head up. Thank you for your practice today. I'll see you next week with part 2 of our yoga for flexibility. Until then, enjoy your practice and I'll see you soon.